we're not discussing how to look at it, how to interpret it, what's the perspective. And there was thunder and lightning, and but what does that mean for us? There's many ways of interpreting it. It's a metaphor in saying that we have to fight, teach us to do good things. That's an interpretation. He's not saying that there's no mountain of Sinai, and there's many. What did we say the other day? 70 faces of Torah, right?
Yeah.
Stay away from the 71st. But the 70, there are many different ways to interpret Sinai.
So I mean, if I understand it good, because do I understand it good or not? I wrote it.
Yeah. No, it's good to ask questions. I'm happy to take your questions. And of course, you're not going to understand everything at first. So it's hard to get it all at once. But we're getting there. We're trying to. Bezrat Hashem. All right, back to the laws of kosher, because if it's our last day, and I have some summary pages and questions for you. The two topics that we haven't covered really that we should mention before we wrap it up. One is Michael's been asking. There's a tradition. You go to the bathroom, you go to make yourself something to eat, or you go and you come back, you shouldn't drink the water because it's been uncovered. What's wrong with uncovered water? He said that snakes and scorpions could come and put their poison into the water, and it could be dangerous. You could die. Don't want to do anything dangerous. So it's good advice. Maybe somebody puts, like when you go to a bar nowadays, I understand that women have to be careful. There's no snakes and scorpion put stuff into their drinks, right?
Yes.
It's terrible. That's a modern day snake and scorpion. You see, that's an interpretation. It's a parable. It's not a real snake and scorpion. It's just so. But the simple understanding of the Talmud is actually in their day, there were snakes that were, common occurrence that they would see if there's no people, and they'd come in and they'd try to take a drink, and maybe they'd leave some of their poison inside the drink. And it was dangerous. The sages said, don't do that. However, as we were saying, over time, the tradition took on new meanings. Maybe we said it's a parable for bad things, other bad things. So there was a belief that there's a spiritual element as well. Uncovered drinks, maybe from the spiritual world. Spirit when we sleep. So I'm not an expert on evil spirits, but we keep the halakha. Halakha says you have to be careful about uncovered drinks. And over the years, many sages have said it only applies if there's snakes and scorpions that are common occurrence. If there's no snakes and scorpions, it's fine. But what about this other interpretations of the other evil spiritual things which could enter your drinks? So the common consensus now is you should be careful about it for wine, a cup of wine. You're going to over. If you leave it open overnight, or if it's uncovered for a long time and nobody can see and nobody's looking at it, then it might have a problem on the spiritual plane, and that's the common consensus. But nowadays, you could drink water in these parts. I don't know, maybe it's different in different parts of the world. In Africa, maybe there still are snakes that'll come in and put things into your drink. But nowadays, we're worried maybe a fly will drop in, but you can see, take him out. There's nothing wrong. Usually there's no poison. No poison. Stringency regarding ritual, mitzvot. So the wine, which was left uncovered overnight, you shouldn't use that for kiddush the next day. But you're allowed to drink it. There's no danger of snakes and scorpions. There's other, we mentioned before, there's other instructions in the Talmud which when it comes to health concerns, because it's dangerous. Fish and meat. So as I said, over the course of the years, it took on new meanings and maybe spiritual meanings. And we keep the basic instruction of the rabbis in the Talmud. They're holy. They're very dear to us. Those rabbis in the Talmud, the Tanaim and the Amoraim, right? Chazal, they were very connected to Hashem. And all of their words we take very seriously. And so today, we try to separate the fish from the meat. We serve it at different courses. We don't use the same plates, the same cutlery. But we recognize that the primary reason they spoke about was danger to health. And if we know that it's not healthy anymore, we can use any leniency. Like I said, just, you don't have to wash off the fork with soap. You just use a different fork or clean off your fork. You could, as long as you don't eat them together in the same dish, the fish and the meat. You could have one and then the other and then the other and then the other. You could have the one after the other with no problem. Some people expand it to fish and milk, but that's a later phenomenon. Only some communities took the communities. Two examples of things which the Talmud said are based on medicine. You go by the doctors and the scientists and the best knowledge that you have. Today, we live after the scientific revolution. Nowadays, we can look at germs in a microscope. We know a lot more about the human body and how germs work and how the immune system works. And so we respect the Talmudic guidance if it's not contradicted by what the modern science tells us. The goal is the Talmud, most of these things, what we're talking about now is the directives of the Talmud for health. So the Talmud says it's very healthy to eat lots and lots of fat and cholesterol and greasy, oily food, and the doctors, they'll say, you're going to get a heart attack when you're 50. So we're not going to follow the Talmud never made it an obligation to eat fatty foods, but they, according to their understanding, that was healthy for you. Definitely gains you more calories. Depends on the circumstances. It can be very good for you if you're starving to death. But if modern medicine tells us you have to avoid fatty foods and you have to, I know some people make a diet. I've seen books. The proper Jewish diet according to the Rambam. The Rambam wrote instructions, guidance for nutrition. And he was a doctor, but he was a doctor 800 years ago. So some of what he said, believe it or not, is still is considered to be good advice. He got some of the things right, but he didn't get everything. What we know now with modern science is a little different than what the Rambam thought, and we don't have to follow what the Rambam thought. He was trying to give you the best medical advice of the time. That's my approach as a rabbi. Maybe he'll say differently, but that we have to use. God gave us science and gave us medicine and gave us the tools to know more about nature and more about our bodies and more about Hashem's beautiful creation. We have to use all of those tools that we have, and the principle is be healthy. The principle is worship Hashem and have a healthy life and live longer so you can learn more Torah and have more children. People didn't used to be able to have 10 children because half of them would die in childbirth and they didn't have proper nutrition and proper hygiene. So nowadays we're going to say, no, I should live like the people in the days of the Talmud. I should never shower. So people want to be like Canaanites. Take another period in history, not biblical times, you could say Talmudic times. I'm a Talmudist. We follow the Talmud. So I'm going to find exactly what life looked like. And so I won't use the computers or the internet. They had no electronics then. They had no electricity then. So we're not going to use electricity because I want to be a Talmudist. We follow the halachot, of course, that which was defined as a prescriptive law, what we must do. But in terms of the culture surrounding, we respect, and it's hard to make that division between what they were saying as a spiritual principle, what they were saying as a medical, science. But we try, and we have to make that distinction because otherwise, we wouldn't be able to live in the modern world. So it's a little complicated. But that's one question you asked about uncovered drinks. L'chaim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'akol nהיה b'dvaro.
Amen. But halacha is Torah. Can you also say that the halacha have 70 phases, layers of interpretation?
Yes,
You
absolutely.
can find more reasons why.
Yes. The 70 faces is in Torah. It's in halacha, within halacha. There's many times debate between the rabbis. And again, not that one rabbi got the halacha right and the other rabbi got the halacha wrong.
Many angles.
There's many angles, exactly. Of course, we have to choose. At the end, how do we choose? Usually, what's one system for choosing?
How you call it?
How does the Beit Din choose?
People.
Majority. The majority. We follow the majority. If rabbis get together, they disagree. We have to choose one way. So the one method is in the Beit Din, they choose to use the majority. But also, there's other methods, like we mentioned the other day as well. If your rabbi has his position, you're allowed to follow your rabbi. Even if it's a unique position, all the people in your community can follow that rabbi. Of course, there's rules about with the rabbi. What can he disagree to the consensus? Nowadays, we don't really have a central authority.
No.
Sanhedrin, we don't have one. So there's a lot of room for each rabbi to create their own customs and their own rules. Even within that, the rabbis have to be following the traditional way of halacha. It's a longer conversation, but for another time. So that's one issue, the issue of danger, things that are dangerous, and the uncovered drinks was one of those, and that's why it's less danger. People who are more Kabbalistic, they go with the spiritual idea, and they take it more seriously, especially regarding wine, more so than water. And they say any drink which has been uncovered, even for a few minutes, you shouldn't drink it, even if it's not for kiddush. But there are rabbis who are more strict about it. But I told you my approach. Second thing that we didn't talk about, and we're not going to talk about very long, is bugs. Bugs.
Vegetable?
You're not allowed to eat non-kosher animals, and part of the non-kosher animals are insects, bugs. Insects, yeah. An ant, a fly, a mosquito, little creatures. They don't have the kosher sides. They don't have those split hooves. They're not birds that are kosher birds. They're not fish that have scales. So they're not kosher. The Torah says you're not allowed to eat any of the creepy crawly things, except for some kinds of grasshoppers, specific types of grasshoppers.
But the food from the insects you can eat, right?
Not so simple. We talked about it the other day, that honey from a bee is strange. Usually, if an animal is prohibited, everything that it produces is prohibited. Like we said, eggs from a non-kosher bird are not kosher. Non-kosher animals are not kosher. Right? We have to have milk from a kosher animal. So the same thing, we talked about it a little bit, that it's an anomaly, it's an exception, that we're allowed to have honey from bees. Bees not kosher. Bees is not a kosher bird. It's an insect. It's not kosher. So all honey should be not kosher. we said it's an exception for one of two reasons. Either one is because the Torah refers to it directly, that you're allowed to eat honey, so we know that it's an exception. Or some people explain that the bee honey actually is not produced by the bee. It's just collected by the bee and kept in a little sack near their mouths, and then they spit it out into the honeycomb where they collect it all and they sort of grow it. But really, it's not produced by the bee. But so that's an exception. Other than that, we're not allowed to have anything produced by non-kosher insects. Also, it's a problem.
Do you need a lot of bees to have honey?
I think so. I think you need a lot of bees to. But usually they come in colonies. They grow in.
Can they be imkers? This place is all with the glass.
Right.
I always wonder if one broke.
Very interesting. Very interesting stuff. There is. They make a certain. Apples. When you buy them in the store, they're shiny. They're very shiny. In some places, they paint them with a special paint to make them shiny, because people want to buy them more if they're shiny. That paint is sometimes made from bugs, from ants. They crush them, they process them, and somehow they have some material in them which is very good for making this transparent, glossy paint. So it's not kosher. You have to be careful when you buy these glossy apples to know, do they have bug juice on them or not? It's not kosher.
How do we know?
You ask the rabbis who are experts in kashrut laws, and they'll tell you which kind of apples, which kind of gloss, and most of us are not experts in the field, and but that's why the rabbis are there to inspect them. Yes.
In Holland, the color from candies they make also from bugs, some bugs.
That's why candies have to have a kosher certification, because the rabbi is not going to give the kashrut certification to a factory that puts the wrong ingredients into their candies. Most of it is sugar, but if they add these kind of bugs, or someone was telling me the other day, I don't believe it, there's some bread in Sweden which is made with blood.
Netherlands also.
In the Netherlands, I can't believe it.
Insects. And then people they was put in the Facebook, and people was like, I'm shocked. And people was like, why are you shocked? This is known for years. You just find out that
Oh my gosh. So that's not kosher. It's not kosher. That's why I said modern day food production, you've got to be very careful. You don't know what goes into all the ingredients of many foodstuffs. You need rabbinical supervision. It has to be supervised as kosher. Very with flour and water. Now, when we come to bugs, this is a little bit of a problem when it comes to, like I said, even the bread, traditional bread, flour and water. Yeah, but the flour sometimes get bugs in it. You have to sift the flour to make sure that there's no bugs in it. And many people...
After we take out the bug, it's fine?
Just remove the bugs and that's fine.
Same with the rice.
Same with the rice. You have to check your rice. Maybe the rice is there, not sanitary conditions. Now we live in the Middle East, very hot conditions, not now. And you have to check your food to make sure that there's no bugs in it.
Yeah, for example, if you like drinking and the bug go inside, you take them out, you're allowed to drink the rest?
Yeah, unless the bug is known to give off poison or give off anything. If all of the bug has been removed, there's nothing left. Unless it's maybe heat, or if it's hot soup. So then the taste transfers from the non-kosher item to the kosher item through heat. And then we have to get into the law of you might have heard of this, just a small little taste within 60 measures, and it's qualified. But usually it doesn't. If it's cold, it doesn't transfer taste. You take out the fly, you take out the bug, and the rest is kosher. Some people don't like it because it's disgusting. They want to throw out the whole food. That's fine. It's good. You should never eat anything that's disgusting to you. It's another prohibition in the Torah. When it talks about not eating bugs, the rabbis understand it. Don't do disgusting things. Don't eat disgusting things. So you're not supposed to eat in a disgusting way. Yeah, with the food all over you and you're dirty, and someone looks at you and he says, "That's disgusting." It's prohibited from the Torah. You're not allowed to do either. So, nowadays, most societies feel that eating because it's disgusting. Bal teshatu is the word sheket for disgusting. An insect. Another meaning is disgusting.
Not quiet.
That's shaket. This is shakets.
Sheket.
The tzadi.
Sheket.
Yeah, tzadi, not a tet. Shakets.
Sheket.
Shakets is a bug, an insect, or a creepy crawly thing, and it also means something disgusting. It's two meanings, yeah. Anyways, so what foods can you eat? Yeah, but what foods do you have to worry about that maybe bugs got into it? Simple answer is it depends on the reality of the situation. It's well known that most apples don't have bugs, worms. Some do. If you see a worm, you got to take it out. You can't eat the worm. So you have to look at your apple.
You'll see it, right?
You'll see it. Yeah.
See a hole, I think.
Yeah. So if you can see, that's simple. If you look in the rice, you look and you see. You spread your rice on a white or a plate or a piece of paper. It's good, or cloth, and then bugs. Oh, there's a bug. Oh, take out the bug. And the rest of the rice is kosher. Some grains, I think more and more, the companies are cleaning them for us. They have an electric eye. They put them on a conveyor belt, all the grains, and the eye is trained with AI, artificial intelligence, to be able to distinguish between the size of a grain of rice and the form of a bug. And so they can spot them and they separate them out. Well, not every company has that. Not every country in the world has that. So you have to, till you know, you can gain experience. You say, I checked one bag, I checked the 2 bags, I checked 3 bags of all the bags of rice, and they're all from the same company, from the same production, from the same country. Then you don't have to check what is clean. So basically, different foods get a status of clean. It's called in Hebrew, it's called a chazakah. Chazakah is an assumed status. The status can be it's a clean type of food, or it's a infested type of food. The main foods that are have a chazakah, that they have bugs in them, leafy green vegetables. And cauliflower is horrible. Cauliflower. And I still don't eat cauliflower if it's fresh, because there's bugs in between the little flowers, right? It looks like little flowers, and you can't see them. If you open them up, you'll see them. And so there's some type of cauliflower that they grow them specially, and it's more expensive. But
In caves, right?
I don't know about caves.
I heard you have to grow them in darkness. And
Darkness? I don't know. I don't know. I think they maybe with nets around the greenhouse, and they separate them from sometimes hydroponics are cleaner than vegetables grown in the earth. But I'm not an expert. Also, some people say broccoli and cauliflower, if you freeze them to a very, very cold temperature, whatever bugs that are in there, let's say there's bugs inside, they'll come apart. They'll disintegrate. And their legs will fall off. Whatever these tiny bugs are, insects. And then, if they come apart, halachically they can be nullified easier. We talked about 1 in 60. So the rules of halachic nullification apply more if they are not in one piece, an entity. It's called a biriyah in Hebrew. So if that's why a lot of rabbis say you're allowed to have frozen cauliflower and frozen broccoli, and I only eat those kind of, if it's been frozen, lenient that it's a small minority. There's some rabbis which allow, based on this halachic calculation, that whatever bugs are in there is nullified.
So not fresh, but the dip from the fridge.
Freezer.
The one you buy in the pack, like the...
In a package, yes, but frozen in a package, yeah. But again, it depends. There's sometimes, it'll say on the package, in Israel at least, it'll say on the package, it'll have a kosher stamp. This is, a rabbi checked out that the way they produce and the way they package and the way they process these frozen vegetables, I say that it's kosher. So you have to look for the rabbinical supervision, okay? So leafy green vegetables, you might have heard of this.
Leafy green vegetables?
Like lettuce. The leaves.
Leaves.
Green vegetables that have leaves.
Yes.
There's spinach. What?
Rucola?
Oh, rucola. That's right. That's a type of lettuce. Right.
I don't know.
Spinach.
Yeah. Beet leaves. Some people eat celery. Parsley. Salad. Yeah. Salad is lettuce of all kinds. They tend to get bugs in them. So you can wash them with soap. Why with soap? You have to soak them in soap for 3 minutes because the soap, it doesn't kill them. These bugs, they attach themselves onto the lettuce with their feet, and the soap releases them from the lettuce. And then when you wash it off, the bug will disappear. The bug will be washed off. If you don't soak it in soap, they're so attached to the lettuce leaves that they don't get washed off. So you have to be very careful with. That's an example of a type of food which we know that there's always bugs in it.
Strawberries.
Yeah, strawberries.
Strawberries, a big problem. Sure. Some people don't eat strawberries because there's too many bugs.
Inside?
So no, on the outside, but they're so small. So some rabbis say, well, if they're so small, they're not significant halachically. The Torah doesn't make you wear a microscope.
Like a zoology.
But some people say, no, I can see them with my eyes. You just have to be trained. So some rabbis forbid it. Other rabbis say most of the bugs that you can see are near where the connection of the leaves are at the top of the strawberry. So if you cut off the top of the strawberry and the little hole where those leaves grow, and then same thing, you have to soak it for 3 minutes and rinse it off very well, all the bugs will be gone. If not all the bugs, most of the bugs, the remaining bugs is just nullified, and there's rabbis who are lenient about that, especially if it's frozen. Again, that's another reason So the problem is we're more and more aware of these tiny little bugs ever in history because we have the microscope. The last few hundred years, where we know that there's tiny little things around us. We know about germs, we know about bacteria, and we know that but really when you think about it, I just swallowed some bugs. There's bugs in the air. We know that. If you take a microscope, you look in the air, there's bugs. The water that we drink, there's bugs in here. We all know that.
Yes.
You can't see them. It's not halachically considered to be a bug. And so, but it's hard for us to know, and the food we eat, we want to keep kosher. You're not allowed to eat insects. How can you ignore that if you can see them? So, but we can see more and more nowadays. We're more and more aware of them. So it's complicated. Most foods, you look at them, you see there's no bugs. It's fine. It's only the foods which have a chazakah, assumed status, that the majority are infested. They have lots of bugs. So we mentioned the leafy green vegetables and the maybe broccoli and the spinach and cauliflower, and there's some foods which are very, very infested. So you just either don't eat them, or you have to be very careful to find a way to make them kosher. Like I was telling you, there is a company. Now it's a number of companies. Last 20 years, it's become a new industry, and I only buy this type of lettuce. I don't want to wash my lettuce so carefully and soak it. And I soak it anyways. I soak it for 3 minutes. They say you have to soak it anyways. But it's much easier to rely on these companies. They grow these leafy green vegetables like lettuce in a special greenhouse that has a lot of netting, and they use the right type of pesticide, and they get a by this is super. The biggest company, the one who started the industry, was in Gush Katif. Gush Katif is a group of villages which were in Gaza before the disengagement, before the Israeli government decided all the Jews have to get out of Gaza. And so they moved the factory. Now it's in a different place. But it's known as Gush Katif vegetables. Vegetables which were grown in the system developed by these very ingenious Jews. I know some of them who built the company in Gush Katif. But now they copy them. There's a few companies, and they sell bug-free lettuce, bug-free cauliflower, bug-free broccoli.
So we can eat.
Yes, that's better. They say you just soak it for 3 minutes in soap, rinse it off, and it's good to go. You don't have to check every lettuce leaf. Some people, you can see the bugs better. I try to avoid that because it's too much work. You can. If you're careful, check each lettuce leaf, make sure that there's no bugs. You clean it off a few times. This is what we did for hundreds of years, thousands of years. That's the way Jewish people ate the vegetables. But nowadays there are better options, and especially when you go to a restaurant or an institution. You have to serve 100 people. It's very hard to check the lettuce leaf by leaf for hundreds of people. So many rabbis will only give a kashrut supervision and say this restaurant is kosher if they use Gush Katif vegetables. Lettuce grown from this method. It doesn't have to be, now no lettuce is grown in Gush Katif, at least not by Jews. But the system is called, and a few years ago we went on a tour to that company, to that big factory, where they showed us all the bugs in the lettuce and how they grow them in a special way, and it makes things easier. So you don't have to check your leafy green vegetables as meticulously as you did beforehand. I only buy those type of vegetables.
Gush Katif is in Gaza?
Yeah, it was. Now there's no more Jewish settlements. All sorts of colors. Sometimes they're blue, sometimes they're yellow, sometimes there's orange. And as I said, but you have to look on the package. It says that it's bug-free.
If you do with strawberries and you do with the soap, And after, well, we see a lot of little black things in the water.
In the water, you see afterwards, yeah.
But inshallah, how do we handle strawberry?
On Shabbat?
Yeah.
You can clean it on Shabbat. Same way, you cut off the tops and you soak it, and then you rinse it off.
But
None of that has violates the Shabbat.
let's say we go to a friend's house and they brought out a strawberry. I mean,
The question is, do you rely? Do they know? Do they know how to check for bugs? Are they aware about the big problem of bugs? Many people keep kosher on various levels, and so yes. Laws of kosher. If you trust that he's been to yeshiva, he's studied a little bit Torah, he follows rabbis, probably his rabbi told him how to prepare the strawberries. But if you see a strawberries there with the lettuce, with the leaf still on top of it, I wouldn't eat them. I wouldn't eat them. They obviously don't know this law of how to make the strawberries kosher. Even the rabbis who allow you to eat strawberries say you have to clean them. You have to clean them with soap, and you have to take off that section. Otherwise, the chances are you're going to be eating bugs. But I wouldn't say to my host, "You're a goy." I wouldn't say, "You don't keep kosher." Be polite. Say, "I'm not hungry right now. I don't like strawberries." You can make something up. I don't know. You say, "I'd rather not." But also, if he asks, you can teach him. They have to be cleaned very carefully. But I would not tell him what to do. He'll learn in his time when how to properly clean the vegetables. But if you think that somebody doesn't know the laws of kosher, don't eat there. Don't eat there. But yeah.
But I like to continue on his question about Shabbat and cleaning the vegetables, because we are learned that on Shabbat we cannot, like every day, we cannot kill insects and stuff. But now we kill them, right?
Nobody says you have to kill them. You just wipe them away. You don't want them. You don't take each insect and to crush them.
Okay.
The point is to your goal is to wash the vegetable. And if the bug gets wiped away, that's not really, you're not trying to kill it. You're not trying to kill it. You just don't want it to be here. If it gets killed by accident, that's a secondary.
And separate it from the good to the bad.
Good. So what are the laws of separating good from the bad? You're allowed with 3 conditions. Ochel, biyad, umiyad. It has to be the good from the bad, so you're taking out the clean vegetable from the bugs. Bayad, you're not using a sifter or a sieve. You're not using a special tool that separates out the bugs. And miyad, it's directly before eating. It has to be right before you eat. It's part of preparing for the meal. So you can do that on Shabbat if you keep the laws of selecting, of borer, and you follow those 3 rules. Yeah.
But one time I was eating like at a place, and I had rice and with onions, mixed. But I don't like onions mixed. But they say it's not good to separate. But
Right.
That's not allowed?
You're not allowed to take off what you don't like and put it aside.
But
You're allowed to take what you do like and leave what you don't like on the side.
But in the same plate, right?
Same plate, yeah.
So, but like
Even another plate. I mean, if you take all the rice and put it on a separate plate, you can do that. Because you're going to eat it now. It's not for preparing it for tomorrow, right? You're eating it in the next hour. You're eating it for this meal. So I don't like. I see they serve me rice with nuts in them. I don't like the nuts. So you can't take out the nuts and throw them away, because that's taking out the bad from the good. But you can take the good from the bad. You can scoop out all the rice and put it on a bowl. Make sure that each scoop has no good without the nuts. The nuts left bowl. That's and then you can have your bowl of rice without having to worry about it.
And with fish, because the fish that we have in yeshiva, tilapia. You have like the gray skin. I don't like gray skin.
Right. So we talked about fish as well. Goes back to the previous month. We were learning the laws of Shabbat. But it's good to review. We said that the same laws apply to fish, but there are leniencies applied. Some people say that when you're eating fish, as you're eating, it's not really called selecting. It's part of it, because there's always bones in fish, and your skin and that. So some people say the same rules apply. You have to take the flesh of the fish off of the bone, not the bone off of the fish, right? And some other rabbis say the normal way of eating is to separate the bone fish in the way of the normal way of eating. It's not a separate act of selecting, but that's we talked about that. Yeah, the fish is a tricky business on Shabbat because of selecting. Yeah.
You know the gray skin?
Yeah.
You like it?
Yeah, no, I don't eat fish. I don't like fish. But
I find that
if you don't like it, it's no problem. Just take your fork, just peel the food away from the skin, not the skin away from the food.
Good.
Right?
It'll be the extra of the meat out. Right.
It's like taking the good stuff from the bad, not the bad stuff from the good. Also, if you eat meat and there's fat, and you don't like the fat, you're careful, you're on a diet. And it's not good to eat, you want to be healthy, you don't want to eat the fat. So can you cut the white fat part and put it aside? You're not allowed to. Cut pork, that's considered to be like your hand. You don't have to use your hands. It means not a special device for separating, like a sifter. And so you can cut away the good and eat only, some people, they eat chicken. They say, the skin, I don't like the skin, it has all the chemicals in it, they don't eat the skin. No problem. So you eat the chicken and leave the skin on your plate. You're separating the good from the bad. As part of your eating, that's fine. Right before eating, even if you did it before the meal, that would be fine. Right? Because you're separating off the good from the bad. Personally, I like the skin.
From the fish?
No, chicken. We're talking about chicken. Anyways, that's the laws of Shabbat. Back to the laws of Kashrut. So this is 20 years, the awareness of bugs in food has become much more in our consciousness. And you have to be careful. The basic thing is you have to separate between foods which are assumed to be with bugs. Most foods don't have bugs. So then you just, you look, make sure that you don't have bugs. Even, let's say you go to a friend's house, and you don't know if he learned about the bugs. So maybe I wouldn't eat the strawberries if they see. But if he serves you rice, maybe you didn't check the rice. So you look at your bowl, and each spoonful you see, is there a bug in there? No bug. So you can eat it. Right? Only if you, and if you see there's a bug, so don't eat the bug. If you see 3 bugs, then there's a halacha concept that's considered to be a chazakah. That's considered to be, if there's 3 bugs, there must be lots of bugs. And so you can't eat the rest. But if you find one, okay, I found one, you put it aside, you don't eat it. But as I said, Baruch Hashem, we live in a very developed area. Even though it's the Middle East, there's a lot of hygiene and there's a lot of sensitivity and there's a health ministry. It's always good to check and to clean and to make sure that you. It's very rare. So I don't think that rice has a chazakah, that there's bugs in it.
No.
In my day, in my experience, when we were opening up, we had the Tu B'Shvat Seder, and we had dates. I said, dates, you have to check. So, but I check 1, I check 2, I check 3, I check 100. It's rare. Once I was so excited. Believe it or not, I was a guest at Rav Michael Weinstein's house. You know Rav Michael? Mm-hmm. We're friends. We live in Tekoa. Mm-hmm. And we've been eating at each other's houses on Rosh Hashanah, for example. 1 year by us, 1 year by them, for many, many years. 1 year, so what on Rosh Hashanah? It's called simanim, special foods to symbolize a new year, right? Apples and honey. What others? We signify, we make a prayer, you should have a good year. Limon, pomegranate, exactly. One of them is dates. Okay, so they really like this idea of having the special foods. I open up my date, I'm at his house. I was so excited because I found a bug. My wife was very angry at me. How could you tell them? They'll be embarrassed. I'm so excited, I never find any bugs. I finally, all these years, I'm looking for bugs. I finally saw one in the date, so no problem. The rest of them are kosher. You just have to check them. You just have to look. But it was maybe not so polite. I was a guest at someone's house. I told him, your food has bugs in it. Of course, he's still my friend. Maybe he forgave me, but...
You're going to fight it this year? You invited you this year?
This year, Rosh Hashanah, I can't remember. I can't remember. I think they came to our house this year. Yeah, they came to our house this year. Yeah.
How about this bug normally you move or
Bark?
or the bugs is
Bugs, yes. What about them?
Is that the death? You move or you just stay there?
I don't understand.
The bugs inside the found inside the dates.
Inside the
Dates, right?
dates, yes.
So you open up the bug, you move. Or...
Yeah, if you see one, you can remove it. But sometimes you see that there's more than one, or that there's like near there's other signs that might be eggs. So if you see one that's has a bug, throw out that date. And if you see there's a package, and you check one, there's a bug. You check another one, there's another bug. Check a third, there's another bug. Then you throw away the whole package, right? So the question is, it's complicated to figure out what's considered to be a package. The fact that you buy a small package, what about big package, right? It's complicated. But anyways, I don't think we can complete our discussion of practical laws of kashrut without talking about shratzim, sheretz, bugs, right? Insects, which are forbidden, and you have to be aware of that. And this can be a big problem in big kitchens, in restaurants as well. That's why some people say, what did we talk about the other day? That there's kashrut of the local rabbanut, the local rabbinic kashrut authority. Sometimes they're on a very basic level, and they make sure that all the ingredients are kosher, but they don't make sure that they check for bugs. They don't make sure that because it's quite costly and time consuming to check all the lettuce leaves for bugs and to clean them properly, and so sometimes that's a problem. That's why some people will not eat unless there's a second, higher level of supervision, maybe a badatz, right? An extra kashrut. I have for you a list. Yesterday we spoke about the different kashrut. We said in America there's the OU, right? That's the biggest one in the world. In Canada, I'm from Canada. The kashrut organization is called Canadian Orthodox Rabbinate. So COR. In Chicago, it's the CRC. That's their symbol. It'll be on the packaging. Chicago Rabbinical Council. This is from Chicago. Then we have in London, we have the London, also I think the B is big and the D is small, something like that. They have a logo. You have to be able to recognize the logos. Kashrut. So, as I said before, just a K, that's kashrut. That anybody can just put a K. But it has to be something that recognizes kashrut. Of the badatzim.
I have a question about the box.
Yeah.
For example, you buy something like vegetables, like salad. Is there a time when you have to clean it from the box, or you can?
Listen, it's all practical. It's all a question of how likely is it that bugs are going to get in there.
Okay.
Usually it takes a while. Okay, I just sent it to you. You can look at the picture. The most famous and perhaps the most machmir one is on the top left. Eida Acharedis. The badats of the Eida Acharedis.
They're the best.
I don't know if the best. I know that they're the most machmir, maybe. They have their own kashrut organization. All are on top of the local kashrut, and these are all considered to be of a higher standard than the standard kashrut. It's just an example. There's others as well. But this can be useful for you. Rav Rubin is very well respected. Rav Landa. All of these are high-level kashrut.
Which one you follow?
All of these, any of these is fine. Okay. Sometimes I'll even eat regular rabbanut. Depends on the food product. Okay. Right? If it's something that's a complicated food, I would maybe look for a better kashrut. But if it's a simple food, and Rabbanut Yerushalayim, for example, doesn't need any extra badats, doesn't need any extra hechsher. Comes from the word kosher, right? Kosher certificate, yeah, supervision.
Yes.
The hechsher is a certificate that it says it's kosher. The hechsher. These are hechsherim. These labels, these supervisory agencies that give a hechsher, they give a certificate of kosher to various companies that produce food. Yeah. Sorry?
I always see these sign Ada
Charedis, yeah, that's the first on the top left, yes. My son, for example, he became a chassid, and he has lots of stringencies, and he decided he's only going to eat food that has the kashrut of badat ha'eda charedis. No, the another son. He doesn't live in Mea Sharim. No, he doesn't live in Mea Sharim. You're not on the list? Okay, so we'll add you to the list. Let's see, it's the list, so we'll add you.
Because I remember when I was living with my Rav, with the Rav in the old city, when I brought food for me, I was always like, nah, I know it's kosher, but I don't follow this. But does the Rav also have like some companies that kashrut hechsher that the Rav is like, from that one I don't eat because it's not, except from the K of the U. You eat from the U is good, right?
In America, it's pretty accepted that there's something called triangle K. Triangle K is a question mark. I don't know. Triangle K is very common. You see it on a lot of candies, and in America, not reliable. I'm a little bit confused. I don't know what to do about that.
So
sometimes I don't. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Depends on what the product is. What changes. There are things. There are. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So we covered dangerous foods. We covered spiritual danger. That's the foods. We covered hechsherim and we covered bugs. And so now, pretty much, the only thing we left, which we're not going to talk about now, is how to make your dishes kosher. You asked me about that. If your dishes absorbed milky taste and then meaty taste. Or if you used the dishes with non-kosher food before you became kosher. Before you decided to only buy kosher meat, maybe you used the same dishes. Can you make them kosher? Well, I said that before Pesach, a lot of Jews changed their because it was full of chametz, and now they want to use the same dishes for Pesach. So there's a process called kashering, making it kosher. We're going to study that before Pesach, so soon. But first, I want to give you two tests. 2 tests. I'm going to start to help you on both.
Yes.
But I'm going to ask you to really write them up properly for Sunday. This is going to be your homework.
Sunday we need to.
Give it in to present this to me, okay?
So we can bring it back.
Yeah, you can work on it at home. Oh, is it a different number?
Yeah. This is Israel number before the Hong Kong.
Okay. So let me add you the other number. You don't use that number anymore. You use both. And this number has WhatsApp as well?
Yeah.
Tov, I'll do this later. But now you got it?
Yeah, more.
Did you get
We
it?
got it just now.
He got it. Okay, so I'll add your other number too. No problem. I sent it to maybe your other number. Okay. Anyways, here is the first test. Pass this around. And this is just a list of words, but it's not just words. It's also concept. What's the concept?
Something.
It's in the halacha context, it's maybe a mitzvah, and it may be Hebrew words used. It's all Hebrew, and that's why you have to know the meaning. For example, number 29. We just use the word number 29. Rabbanut. What does a rabbanut mean? It means the group of rabbis. Usually, it's in a certain locale, in a certain area. It's the official government sanctioned rabbi's authority, right? That's what the rabbanut is. And badats, 28, badats, we just said. It stands for Beit Din Tzedek, we said yesterday, and it means, usually it stands for an additional rabbinic organization. Sometimes they give Kashrut certification. So Badatz is a term we use for another Hechsher. I don't see the word Hechsher on there. Is there a word Hechsher on here?
Hechsher? Yeah.
What number?
I saw it just.
Yes, to that Hechsher.
To that Hechsher. What number?
24.
24. So that means a certificate that it's kosher. Right? Tuda means certificate. Hechsher, that it's certified kosher. So the Badatz gives a Tudat Hechsher, and the Rabbanut gives a Tudat Hechsher. Right? And how do they do that? Do the rabbis hang around in the factories?
Yes.
No.
No?
Usually they send an agent.
Oh, yes.
A supervisor called a mashgiach. That's number 25. Mashgiach is the kashrut supervisor.
Rav Lisman was a mashgiach, right?
I was a mashgiach.
Yeah.
Sure, this was when I was in college. This was a side job.
Is there a lot of work to be mashgiach?
Mm-hmm. There are jobs out there. It's a low-paying job. Low-paying job. It's hard to make a lot of money, but yeah, they always need mashgichim.
It's nice, Jackie.
It could be nice, could be boring, it could be hard because you have to fight. Maybe tell the owner of the restaurant, sorry, this is not kosher. I have spent so much money on it. What are you telling me it's not kosher? Sometimes you have to be strong to tell the cook, hey, you can't do that. That's meat. That's milk. Oh, I see the dishes are in the wrong place. You're using the wrong knife. It can be quite combative. Could be so to be a mashgiach is not so easy. Some places it's easier. They want to keep the rules. You know, it's a very clear system. You just have to check the labels that all the food products that come in are from the right places, and sometimes you have to take off trumot and masrot.
But you also like a little bit the bad guy.
Sometimes
like
you,
like,
right.
oh,
It's not for me. I don't like being the bad guy. I like being the good guy, but what can I do? Everybody has a different temperament.
Hadrin is you very strict, right?
Yes. So you might say that this is kasher, the Rabbanut supervision to that hechsher is kasher, but the badatz is kasher. Like we use the Mehadrin. What holiday did we use the word Mehadrin?
For the Hanukkah, for
Hanukkah. Talmud. More every night, or getting one candle for every member of the household. 3 levels, and they said there's Mehadrin, and Mehadrin, Mina Mehadrin. Supervisor. Mashgiach is 25, is Mashgiach is a Kashrut supervisor. It doesn't have to be a rabbi, Eitan, that's what I would say. It doesn't have to be a rabbi. A Kashrut supervisor can be a layman. He has to learn what to look for, what to notice. He has to learn some of the laws of Kashrut, but it doesn't have to be a rabbi.
You can even be a woman.
Yes.
I know one woman.
Yes, you could be a woman. Yes, yeah. How do we know it can be a woman?
Because women have more. They say women.
Yeah, but how do you? What did I say yesterday? Who can you rely on to tell you that it's kosher? We all eat at home. Who's the mashgiach at home?
Woman.
Yeah, your wife or whoever is We all, of course, a woman can be a mashgicha. The question is, of course, is in the public context, right? Is that the right thing that you want a woman to be fighting against the cook, right? Sometimes there's lots of men there, and so it depends on the circumstances. But halachically, she's reliable, like everybody else.
She was a big woman.
Oh, there are some scary. There are some scary women. No question about it.
Must be tough. Must be tough one.
Yeah, she was tough.
That's it. Okay. So this is the first page. That's the first. You can do the rest later, and you can look at your notes, and you can ask somebody to help you. Ask somebody to help you if you don't know. You could ask me also. But here's the second part of the test, and these are questions. I want to look at those 2 together for a few minutes. Okay? It's crazy. Some days we have 10 people, and some days we have 4 people. So strange. I don't know.
But Benjamin is sick,
Benjamin, I think he's not coming because usually he gets a lift here with Yechiel. Yechiel is in America, the bigger guy, yeah. He's in America now for 3 weeks. So I guess he doesn't have a lift, so maybe he's not coming.
Okay.
It has been cold. And, I don't know. Maybe that's why. Yeah, you should definitely say hello.
Rabbi, he's sick.
Ravid was sick for a couple days last week, and he came on Sunday, but then he's...
I saw him, he was sick the last time.
Such a shame. I hope he feels good.
Is a proper schita, right?
Nevela is improper shchita.
Okay.
Nevela is what happens if you don't have a proper shchita.
Okay.
Halak is the smooth slaughter.
Smooth what?
Smooth slaughter.
All slaughter has to be smooth. The lungs are smooth. That's right. After slaughter, you have to check the lungs.
Smooth lungs.
Okay, let's look at the second question. Let's do number 1 together. From your garden, you pick 10 peaches and bring them into your home. How do you make them kosher?
With so
That's makes bugs. But how else? What else do you have to do?
You take the truma.
You have to take the truma. So what do you do? You do that practically.
if you
Just take one and a little bit more.
1 and a little bit more. You take 1 peach.
2%.
one of the 10. 1/10.
1/10?
No, you take
1/10.
No, man.
1 out of 10. That's 10%.
Oh, it's not,
You take off 10%?
We don't do that.
2% you take off.
No. How much percent do you have to take off?
20%.
20%?
No.
There's 3 things you have to take off. You have to take off truma,
Yes.
and then you have to take off maaser rishon,
30%.
and then you have to take off maaser sheni, and you have to redeem its value onto a coin. Some years you have to take off maaser ani instead of maaser sheni. And you also have to take off terumat maaser, the teruma of the maaser. Like the Levi had to take off a portion of his tenth that he got and give and he would give it to the Kohen. Nowadays, we don't give the Kohen anything. He can't do anything. We don't give the Levi anything, but we have to separate them off. And we're not allowed to eat the Truma and the Truma Maser. Those two sections, bottom line is a little more than 1%.
More than 1%.
A little more than
So if you
1%.
have 10,
10, you cut one of them, you cut one of the peaches, 1/10, right? 1/10 of one peach is 1% of the 10 peaches. So, a tenth of one peach, you have, and a little bit more, you set aside, you put it in a plastic bag, wrap it up nicely, and you say, all of the truma and maser that I have to take off is in this section, in the proper order, like it says in the Siddur. We read it together.
yes.
And if it has to be redeemed on a coin, you have to have a coin that's available for you, that the holiness will be redeemed on a coin. And if it's a year of the third or the sixth year, you have to have some system to give it to the poor. In any case, you throw that out. And if you take it from your garden, you have to make a bracha first. Nobody else has done that. You make a bracha before you do this separation procedure. And then you can eat your rest of your 9 9/10 of a peach that you have left. 9 9/10 of a peach. There's only 1%, a little more than 1% is what you have to take off. So if you have 10 peaches, it's a tenth of a peach. 1/10 of the one peach. That has to be separated off. The rest is then kosher. Is that clear? This is a review. We did it. We talked about this before. Right. Or the other option, buy peaches from the supermarket.
Yeah.
And a rabbi already did this. But the supermarket is going to have a certificate.
Yes.
It says the rabbi supervised. What did he do? He took off the tithes for you. And they made it kosher. Okay.
But if you're in outside of the land of Israel, so you're going to do this.
Right, that's only in the land of Israel. Only in the land of Israel. Or fruit which came from the land of Israel. If you have an export, you have to be careful. But usually it's only in the land of Israel. Let's see what other questions are interesting here. Number 6, we just talked about it. Who is reliable to say that food is kosher? Tell that it's estimation. They know. Rely on institutions have to have rabbinic supervision, like a restaurant or something, because the owner, he's making money. He's not just serving you food from his home. And a lot of people, they know the laws of Kashrut, but some people don't know all the laws of Kashrut, so you have to be careful. But the simple halacha is, every Jew is reliable that keeps kosher.
Some people only
It cares
know,
about kosher.
So some people only know the rules, what's in benefit for them. They
Yeah.
only know, it's kosher because this, but the other things they don't
Right,
know.
they don't know. They don't know enough. Yes, it's hard. So, of course, relying on a kashrut organization, rabbi, which is known that they do a good job. They know what they're doing, so that's the best way. But someone brings you food from their home, and they say it's kosher. I keep kosher, unless you have reason to suspect that there's something fishy or that they really don't know anything. So, for example, someone in children have birthday parties in kindergarten. Now, all the members of the kindergarten, they're not all religious families. Maybe some don't know all the laws of kosher. I think so. Children, there's room to be lenient because what's in a cake? Flour, eggs, water, sugar. The worst problem that you can, in Israel, I'm talking about in Israel, most of the flour is kosher. The sugar is kosher everywhere. The eggs, they're all industrial. All Western countries, we said, The eggs are not fertilized. There's no problem with the eggs. What could be the problem? Butter, also butter, usually it's kosher. And so the biggest problem is bugs.
The box.
Bugs. Did they check their flour to make sure that there's no bugs? So I want to teach you, before we continue, a secret tip. And this is what makes things easier. I used to sift my flour all the time, and it was quite a lot of work. Then I learned this tip. On the package of the flour, if you look on it, it tells you the date that it was made, the date they ground it up into flour. Now, if the 2 weeks have passed, then maybe bugs got into the flour. Maybe it was sitting outside in the sun, and the bugs can lay their eggs and they can develop. But if it's right after, if it's within 2 weeks, there's no chance that bugs can get in there. They can't grow there. So if the flour is very, very fresh, if you look on the packaging, you go to a supermarket, like a big supermarket, where there's a lot of turnover. Many times, the flour is so fresh, you right away take it home and you put it in your freezer. The freezer, you can't get any bugs. Even on the hottest day of the year. In a freezer, it's not going to get any bugs, so you don't have to check it.
Yes.
It's amazing. It's a great trick. So if you go to the local makolet, maybe they have some flour, and it's sitting for 2 months, 3 months, until finally somebody buys one. Not a good idea. You have to check that and sift it to make sure there's no bugs in it. But if you buy it at a big supermarket, very, very freshly ground, freshly made flour, and it says there's two. There's a made. It was ground into flour, and it's very recent. Then that's the best flour. You don't have to sift it. It's a wonderful tip, which I usually do. You can also buy nowadays. You can buy pre-sifted flour that's in vacuum packed, so no bugs can get in. So in the factory, they made sure to sift it, and then they package it in a way that no bugs can get in, because there's no air and there's no contact with any bugs. So that's also another way. It's a little more expensive though. So I use my tip. I use my trick. It's you buy the cheapest flour there. Just make sure it's fresh. Okay. So that's number 7. What foods must be checked for bugs? The simple answer, as we said, is foods which have a chazaka, a status of being infested. Foods which often get bugs. So the assumption is, like we said, leafy green vegetables, and you have to check the grains, because many times grains have bugs, although I'm not sure that you have to anymore. In my experience, there's very, very few bugs in lentils, in rice and stuff like that. But the custom is to check for them, because maybe there's different companies. There's different companies that sell rice. You can have rice that's been from China, and it's been sitting on a boat for months till it comes over here. It's going to get bugs. The packaging company checks and filters out and rinses them, and so it depends on the packaging and depends on the circumstances. So usually I do check my grains, although, as I said, I'm not sure that they have chazak, that they assume. You can see the other questions here, giving you time over the weekend to work on these questions, write them out, ask for help. If you want, you can ask me for help, no problem. But send me a WhatsApp or something, call me on the phone if I'm not here, and you can ask your friends, ask people around you, and this is your homework for Shabbat. But it's Friday. We have to sing a song.
Oh yes.
Right? Bring the benches.
The bench, yes.
The Zmironim. Somebody had a question though. You wanted to ask Eitan, or you want?
No, I know already.
Okay. And did you want to tell me about the Mikraot Gedolot? Do you want to show me? Who wants to take the test?
Me.
Yes.
Yeah? Okay.
I want to do it.
You know
Okay. Yeah.
Go first. I know
The commentaries. Let's see. Open this up. Tell me about it. Tell me what you see here.
I see here, like, we here have the text.
Here, you can each hold one. This is a different format. This is the other format. Who wants this format, and who wants the format with the chumash on the right or the chumash in the middle?
Rashi.
Here. Okay, so I guess I'm asking you to show me in order of history. Which one's the earliest?
The earliest one is the
The
Targum.
chumash, first of all.
Chumash.
Where's the Targum?
The Targum must be somewhere upstairs.
Upstairs, I like it.
But I see, I look for Yonah Uziel from Onkelos, but I don't see
Onkelos is the first one.
No, the first one is Yonah Uziel. I say Ben Uziel is the first one, okay?
What about Onkelos?
Onkelos for Yonah Ben Uziel?
Not sure.
Jonathan is before.
Jonathan is earlier, I think. Yeah. What did it say on the pages I gave you?
Number 8, it says.
Yeah. Year 8. Year 8. And what was Onkelos?
No, Onkelos.
And what was Jonathan ben Uziel?
9.
So then Onkelos is first.
Yonah's first.
But it doesn't matter. They're the same period.
Targum.
Oh, the Targum Onkelos. Okay, so Onkelos and Targum, here it has Targum Yerushalmi. This page that you're holding, it doesn't have Targum Yonatan. Here it says Targum Yonatan ben Uziel. Printers put them together. In any case. What's next? What else? What else do you want to show me?
Very important is Rashi.
Rashi, yeah.
He lives in the year 1105.
That's when he died.
And then,
Yeah.
all the numbers is when they died.
I guess. I think he died he lives from 1040 to 1105. If I remember correctly, Rashi's 1040. So if you say 1105, that's what it says on the page. Must be when he died, yeah. What else do you see?
I see the Rashi.
Rashi, very good.
Even Ezra. I know they was in the same time. Then not the same time exactly, but
they were both Rishonim.
Both Rishonim. But after them come the Ramban.
And the Ramban,
because you always talk about them.
He quotes them, exactly. Beautiful.
And then
what else?
Then I see the Baal HaTurim. Oh, the Baal HaTurim.
Who's that?
They are the one who make the lines. 4 lines.
What do you mean the 4 lines? Yeah, the 4
pillars.
The 4 pillars, the 4 columns, yeah. Who was he? When did he live?
He lives before the Rashi.
No.
After.
When?
In 1464.
Yafeh. That's right, the 15th century, that's right. He wrote the halacha book called the 4 columns that support the building. That's right, and which was the basis for the Shulchan Aruch. The Torah was the basis for the Shulchan Aruch. Shulchan Aruch is a new version of the Torah, of the 4 columns. And it's Baal HaTurim, this is his commentary on the Torah. Very good. What else?
The Rambam.
That's Perush al Ibn Ezra.
It's the commentary on the voor nog in Italy.
Yafeh.
He was also very, he was a Rishon, but he was very late also.
Late Rishon, 14th century, good.
Then it's
even 13th century.
Pirosh.
Perush means commentary of Rashbam.
Rashbam. That's the grandson of the Rashi.
Yafeh. Okay, Stephen, what do you have to tell me? You show me something else. What do you recognize on the page?
I recognize
the Chumash. You're pointing at the Chumash. Yes. What else do you see?
Rashi.
Yeah.
Then this is
the 14th century. Good, good.
Rashi is from France.
Yes, good.
The Rashbam also.
Also, that's right.
Lives in the same.
What else?
Ramban is from
Eitan, what do you have to show me? What do you quote? You're looking at the Navi, no? Or you're looking at the Torah in a different version?
Yeah.
And what do you see?
Yes, only the Rashi, the Ibn Ezra, and Seforno and Rambam.
Let me ask you this. What are the little markings in the margin in your copy? Like you have here in between the Chumash and the Onkelos. You have little notes,
Yes.
A letter here, a letter there. Eitan, what are the footnotes called? What are they called? What's it called?
From the Misorah.
Masorah. Very good. You have it over here. In this, you have the Masorah. This is called the Masorah Gedolah, and in these versions, you can get other versions that have. But the Masorah is the footnote about what? About what?
The Tanakh.
What about it? What about it?
It's the words.
The words?
wording.
To explain
The words, not to explain difficult words, no.
Yes. Some is regarding the different.
Not to explain difficult words, no.
No, the other no.
Like commentary.
Some.
Not commentary.
Some words only appear once in a.
Right.
In a Kumash, yeah. And
Yeah, but what are they looking for?
They want to make a connection with.
Nope.
they're going to explain to us.
No, they want to ensure
Yes.
the spelling is correct. The text itself is something else that we find, the special notes on the words. But this is in between. This is the counters, right? They counted the numbers of the letters, and the unique spellings helps you make sure that it keeps, it's only unique. It's one time in the Tanakh, the other times it's spelled differently. It's to preserve the text, the integrity of the text. It's not a commentary. It doesn't explain the text. Okay. What else?
Rabbi,
Yeah.
I mean, the one you gave us to us.
Yeah.
Targum is somewhere here, but this is the Targum, is it?
No, that's not the Targum. This is the Targum. Onkelos, it says on the top. This is Targum, and this is also Targum, and this is also Targum. The top three here are Targum. What that is it basically says how many psukim there were in this parsha. It's part of the Masorah. They just write it at the end of every parsha. They write it in between one parsha and the next, to give you sort of like a summary of how many words there were in the parsha. But it's part of the Masorah.
They've also told Dot Aaron.
Yeah, what's the Toldot Aaron?
But it doesn't mention on the papers.
Yeah. In that edition, yeah, it's a different edition. They didn't referencing the Talmud. Where is this pasuk mentioned in the Talmud?
Okay. That look like the Talmud, this version, this like.
Oh, that version looks like the Talmud when you have the text in the middle and the commentaries on either side of the margin. Good. Yafeh. So, I think we have our winners. We have one set for Eitan and one set for Michal.
Wow. Mazal
An entire Chumash. Chamisha Chumshei Torah. And what's it called? Mikrot Gedolot. And we don't have time for much more, so we'll just sing one little song. Mechvot Shabbat. Song that everybody knows. Okay? And you even know it off by heart, probably. Do you have it? Give me one. The ones from today that I was just showing you for examples. Those I'll take back. Whoever wants them, you can keep them also. But you have a full set. So
This is not the heart. Oh, it's still here.
we're gonna briefly, quickly sing a song on page 23. Getting ready for Shabbat. 23. Page 23. Beautiful flowers in the rain. Shalom Aleichem Malachei Asharei HaKadosh Baruch Hu Boachem LeShalom Malach. Second paragraph now. 23, second paragraph. Malachei Elyon Mimelech Malchei HaMelachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. You remember the tune? I sent you a YouTube video of the people singing the beautiful song, a rendition of this tune, and I taught you different words, right? I taught you the words of the entire Tanakh, right? The Parshiot. Rashid Noach lech lecha vayera chayei Sarah. It's been a while. Anyways, let's finish it off. Baruchuni, third paragraph. Baruchuni leshalom malachei hashalom malachei elyon mimelech malchei hamelachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Last one. Say HaMelachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That's it.
But you does the Rav sing this nigun?
Sometimes.
There was another nigun I heard a lot. I was singing it some days, but I forgot it.
Oh, okay.
It's not Shalom. It's not one, and also not this one. It's the other one.
Many.
You know.
Yeah, I can do this. It was too fast.
But this one.
Well, that's why we did it now. Enjoy. Shabbat Shalom. Good luck on your tests. Good luck on your homework.
Yes.
And we'll see you Sunday morning, please God. In good health. Bevakasha.
I don't know. If I know it, I'll sing for you. But because I like that nigun.
Please.
I heard it 2 times in my life. It was like 3 times, but I was like, hey, very nice. Rabbi for the present.
You're very welcome. You're welcome. It's good to have holy books.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. You should have a kosher Shabbat.
Rabbi.
Now